Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me. It's Vanessa from Kind Hearted Studio. I'm so excited to be having this opportunity to teach you online. It really is one of my passions, and so thank you for allowing me to do this with you. Hey guys, just another thought after I did this. If you are doing it with your family or more than one person, what you could do is use a cereal box or a cardboard box, coat it with your background color, then have each of you paint feathers on a separate piece of cardboard. So you'll each paint 3 on a separate piece of cardboard. Have everyone select their favorite feather at the end and write one word of inspiration on it or one thing you're thankful for. And when you're finished, you're going to use everyone's favorite feather to create a family collage. Just another option. You'll need a plate for mixing paint. I like to use a medium-sized brush and a smaller one for detail, a cup for water, and some paper towel, and either cardboard or a canvas to paint on. Hi guys, so here we are, and this is the painting that I'm going to guide you through step by step. And so you'll need red, yellow, blue, and white paint. Um, at any point, if you want to change any of the colors, so if you want all of your feathers to be turquoise or light blue, or you want them all to be pink, feel free to change up the colors to whatever you want them to be. So we'll get started. I have a blank canvas here. Now, if you don't have canvas, you can also use just cardboard. You can use a piece of paper. You can use whatever you can find, really. We're going to begin with that blue feather behind us. So you'll see that I have paint just like this, and I'm going to mix up a light blue. So there's a lot of variation, and this is the thing that I love most about this painting, is if you look at it, you'll see a lot of different colors. So you see this light blue, you see this green, a little bit of a darker blue, with some more turquoise in there, light pinks, some purples. So there's all kinds of different shades. So if you end up not mixing enough of the right color, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to start with my small brush and dip it in water. And I'm just going to take a little bit of blue and mix it in to the end of this white here. So I'm just mixing up a little bit. I'm going to mix up a light blue that I like. Okay. If you want it to be turquoise, you can take a little tiny bit of yellow and mix it in with the light blue that you have. Okay. So from there, I'm going to start over off in the left-hand side here, and I'm going to do kind of this happy face here. And this can be just really loose. All right, so there's my mark. And we're gonna go really lightly. So we're gonna come up. Just kind of making that kind of shape here. Okay, your lines don't have to be solid. We just want a rough outline. And from there, I'm going to pick up my medium-sized brush, and I'm going to dip it in water. And I'm going to take this color, and I'm just going to kind of sweep. So feather, kind of quick brush strokes, back and forth in this bottom section. And then I'm going to come up a little bit as well. So I'm going about 1/3 of the way up my feather. I'm going to take a little bit more blue and mix it in with the color that I have, just to make a darker color. You don't have to mix it in with all of that color that you mixed, just a little bit, because we want still some of this color that we have so we can add some of the feathery marks. So I'm going to do the left side of this feather and just a little bit of a darker blue. And so when I meet this blue, I'm just going to kind of wisp and feather back in, mixing and coming right into it so that it blends a little bit more and it doesn't look like just you've cut it off. So if you have a solid line, you can just keep brushing back and forth just to blend that in. Now going back to my small little brush, I'm going to take some of my original color and we're going to flick and add those feather-like details. So the flick is just these quick flick of the wrists. Okay, so you're going to do it on the left side here, and we're going to add a bit more. Like so. And towards the bottom as well, I'm going to come and do kind of these frown shapes. And I'll add in a stem. So at any point you can pause this video so that you can complete this step in the time frame that you need. I realize that I might go a little bit fast, but pause it whenever you need to. Now, with some of this blue here, we're going to do the same. So I'm going to add a few on that side. And make sure you're using enough paint. Okay, so there's that section. I'm going to make more of a turquoisey green. So here's my light blue. I'm just going to mix up a darker light blue, than what I originally had. And I'm taking a little bit more yellow and mixing that in. Okay, so you can see the difference. And so this turquoise green, I'm gonna use my big brush. I'm not going to erase this, or rinse out this brush, sorry. And I'm just gonna take some of that turquoise color and I'm gonna come out just a little bit and back in. So here's what I'm talking about in terms of, you don't want to paint it in just so that it's like, it's a very solid line there, right? So we want to soften it and blend it so that it looks like it's kind of all together as opposed to just blotches of color. So if I come back and forth and really, really lightly just kind of brush over top and pull that down and into my other colors. You can also use a little bit of water if you want, so you can rinse out your brush and use a little bit of water to feather that. So you can see that it's blending a little bit better together. Okay, so there is the first feather. Okay. can add to it if you want to. Now, my number one thing is know when to stop. We have a tendency to keep adding and overworking, and then all of a sudden we've done too much and we go, oh, I just messed that up. Because you want to keep adding, and you're looking at it because that's the only thing on the canvas. So if you're done the step, stop and move on. Don't try to keep adding certain things to it because you're going to eventually add too much and mess it up. So just know when to stop and know when to move on. At any point, if there's something that's bothering you, just move on to the next step and then come back to it, because you might be looking at it at this moment and not like it, but once we add 2 more feathers or once we add different colors, it might all come together, okay? All right, so for the second feather, you're going to rinse out your brush. So take it to the bottom of the cup till you hear it thumping, and then just lightly dab it on your napkin. And with our tiny little brush, I'm gonna take just a little tiny bit of red. I'm getting paint all over. So a little tiny bit of red. And you can mix up whatever kind of pink that you want. So you can mix up a light pink, a dark pink. If you want to mix up like a purpley pink, I'm trying to figure out the lighting here. You can take just a little tiny bit of your blue and mix in to create that light purple color. Okay, so just mix up a color that you like. And we're gonna come to the center now, okay? And so from here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come towards the bottom of the center of the canvas, and I'm gonna add these V marks. So you wanna give yourself enough space at the bottom for a stem. So I might have started a little bit too low. So you kinda wanna start wherever you start with the other flower or feather. So I'm gonna start right about here. Okay, and don't worry about this mark, we'll just add it in. So from there, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up from the center point, and we're just gonna come and we're gonna curve around. So you want it to be roughly the same height as that feather. So you can come either up to the top or you can start here and curve. I'm gonna start at the top, come around and curve and connect to that center line. Okay, it's gonna look a little bit weird right now, but it will all come together. And then you're gonna curve back out and connect to that line. Okay, so you can take your medium-sized brush and rinse it out. So I'm gonna start down here with my pink, and starting from here, I'm going to start and going up on a diagonal, but I don't want to do this, right? I want these kind of wispy light lines. So you're going to start here and just the quick flick of your wrist. Okay, and you want some variation in terms of lengths. So if you want, you can go back with your smaller brush and give you some better lines. If you're having a hard time with your big brush, the brush we're using, you can come back in with your little brush and just add these little wispy lines along there. Okay, I'm gonna actually add just a little bit of a light purple in towards the right side. Okay, and we'll go back to the pink and we'll just add it along the left side here. and a little bit on. Sorry, did I say left? I meant right. Okay, so there we go. Now you'll see back there in the center, that's more of a light purple. So what you can do is with that pink, you can add a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of blue and mix up a light purple. So if you add more blue, it's going to be a blue purple. If you add more red, it's going to be a red purple. Okay, so I have this red purple that I've mixed. And I'm going to come filling in the remainder space. So I've rinsed out my brush, and you'll see that these lines are quite solid. So it doesn't really soften and blend in like a feather would. So what you can do is you can just take a little tiny bit of water and you can just brush right over top. So you're going back and forth into that color. You could also take a little bit of light pink or whatever color you have on that side and just brush back into it. So you're just going back over top of the lines that you have so that it's a little bit more blended. Can you guys see that okay? All right, so you'll see the difference and the colors are blending a little bit better now. Okay, and we're gonna even mix up a darker purple. So you're gonna take a little bit more red. So this is my palette here. I'm just taking a little bit more red and a little bit more blue, and I'm mixing up this darker purple. And you'll see that I don't have a lot there, just enough to kind of add straight in the center. Okay, so if I want to add some wispy lines, like here, to tie in these two sections, I'm gonna come up the side. And this is where your tiny little brush might come in handy because I'm getting really thick wisps. So now I can add and then I think with this dark purple, I'm gonna add that stem. Okay. All right, for this next one, I'm gonna mix up more of a blue purple. So I'm taking a little bit more blue and I'm gonna mix in some white. Ooh. And I like the soft color, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more white. If you ever feel like you're getting your brush really loaded and there's a whole lot of paint on it, you can just take it and angle it and twist it between your fingers and you'll see the bristles rolling together and that's getting that excess paint out. All right, so for this one, I'm going to see if I can make the same kind of space in between. So I want to leave about that much. So I'm going to come over here. I'm coming across. So that's roughly where I'm going to put that feather, and I want to leave a little bit of space as well. So, same idea, that happy face. So I'm pressing really lightly and going straight on with my brush. Okay, so we're just gonna go kind of back and forth. Having these wispy lines, and in the center you can fill that in a little bit more. We'll come back and we'll build that up some more. But there's our bottom. And we're gonna come back and build up the rest of our feather. So if I go to the top here, I'm going to start right about there. And I'm gonna curve down off to the side and just connect. So curving a little bit, coming down, out a little bit, and coming back in towards the center. Okay, I'm gonna leave this other side because it's going to be in a different color. Actually, let's rinse out your tiny little brush, and we're gonna mix up a little tiny bit of pink. And so on this side, we'll come back around, and then we'll come out a little bit, and just kind of down and connect so it's like that shape, and then we'll build it up a little bit more. So you can put that little brush in the water. Okay,